Welcome to Study Loop.
All right, so this question is basically asking for your understanding of what happens to an organism's body and its cells as the temperature in its environment changes, and also why organisms tend to maintain constant body temperatures. Well, that has to do with, in part, enzyme activity. Enzymes are proteins that act as biological catalysts or things that speed up chemical reactions in the body that basically maintain basic bodily functions that the organism needs to survive. And that's this little green zone here. That's when these reactions happen their fastest. That's when these enzymes are sort of formed at their peak. If we get too cold, they might freeze or slow down, um, and that's not good. And as we get hotter, it's also not good because these enzymes will start to denature or kind of break apart or melt, if you will. Um, and their shape may change as their proteins start to break apart, so they can't actually fit with the substrates that they're trying to catalyze. Um, and then these chemical reactions will stop or slow down, which is also bad for the organism. So now that we have that understanding, let's take a look at our multiple choice options. And when we do that, we know that we can go ahead and cross out options A and C because both of them state in their very first sentence that uh, high or low temperatures, like the extreme ones, can increase the rate of metabolic processes. But as we've just described, that's the opposite. Options B and D talk about the denature process, which happens at the high level. But that's only one part of the question. The second part is looking at how organisms can actually protect or react against these changes in environmental temperatures to maintain their constant body temperature. Now, option B says hibernation, which is basically when the body sort of slows down, cools off, kind of enters into a prolonged, deep sleep. Um, that's one option. So basically, the chemical reactions are sort of slowed or like stopped in certain cases, so they don't need to always be happening. Um, Aestivation is similar, except that is basically when temperatures are too hot and then the body sort of shuts down, quote unquote, if you will. It's similar to hibernation, but specific to hot areas. Or migration, which is just leaving the area because the weather is too hot or too cold. Option D says that only migration is used to avoid seasonal temperature changes. Now let's think about that for a moment. Can you think of an example where animals don't migrate because of a seasonal temperature change, but do something else? I think of bears, which do the thing in option B, which is hibernate, because the temperatures are too cold, and also because food sources are more limited, so they have less energy to support their bodies. So in that case, we can cross out D because its options of coping are far too limited. And so in that case, B is the correct answer because not only does it explain the metabolic reaction to changes in temperature correctly, it also gives us a broader scope of reactions organisms do have in real life to these seasonal temperature changes.